All right, so we're gonna start out watching videos, and it's titled "I'll Give You a Reason to Play Star Citizen: Major Changes," and this is from SteweyMyster. So let's see what Stewie has to say.
So, while CIG have been trying to get their act together and publish a patch that actually functions without fail, I've been finding myself struggling to come to terms with whether or not I should even be playing Star Citizen at this moment. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are probably in the same boat. Frankly, for me, playing a live build that is inevitably going to have a wipe, even if they do introduce Siege of Orison and other things, frankly, isn't exciting enough. And jumping onto the PTU to try and give that a go, well, it's its own rather frustrating experience. I even tried today to jump into the PTU to try out doing some reclaiming in the Vulture. And although that maybe did work fine, old and existing bugs that have been around for a while crept up and left me to wanting to just uninstall, leave the game, wait again until another more stable patch comes out. This is a cycle I find myself getting into very regularly with Star Citizen, and I've been around for 10 years. So I'm hoping that some of you who are watching right now can share that.
I mean, thinking at any point that the next year is going to be like a stable experience is, I think, very optimistic. Like, more stable patch than maybe what we have in the PTU, sure, but stable is going to be the opposite of what I feel like the next year is going to be.
And sympathize with my frustration. But frankly, although I love the game, it doesn't offer you everything all at once. Not even half the time. But with 3.18, there is something that will be offered that is brand new, and it is the meaning of death.
What?
As I said before, 3.18 brings some interesting things with it, and one of them is salvage. But what do you salvage? Well, to answer that, I want to actually completely change topic and talk about Escape from Tarkov. Like a lot of other content creators or streamers, I have to sometimes find another game to play. And Escape from Tarkov is an alpha just like Star Citizen, with its own buggy patches and its own developer decisions sometimes people can just greatly disagree with. Escape from Tarkov has been something that I have dabbled in from time to time. I used to play it a lot actually before I started streaming Star Citizen as you guys know it today. And back then the game was very, very stressful. I'm still a bit of a wuss, and you'll see that in some of the clips here. I enjoy Escape from Tarkov now as more of a run and gun, real life simulator for my airsoft activities back in the real world. Tarkov is a game that a lot of people choose to play because it has something that Star Citizen had lacked and currently still does in the live build for a very long time. A meaning, a purpose to whether you live or die. Yes, of course.
For me, it's not just a purpose of whether you live or die. It's and I don't know if he's going to touch on it, but the difference between Tarkov and Star Citizen at the moment, like there's lots of comparisons that he was making that are real. The one that does not exist in Star Citizen does not exist in 3.18. So that's why I said, like, what? I don't understand where he's, like, what point he's going to start making. Every single item means something towards your progression, towards moving forward, whether it's your hideout, whether it's getting better gear to have a better time in the next raid. It's always, you always feel like you're taking steps forward. Sometimes you take steps back when you die. Take more steps forward. Sometimes you take steps back when you die. And then you have the traders and all these other things in Tarkov where you're feeling progression. You're getting access to better gear, ammo, everything. None of that exists in Star Citizen. So whenever he does get to the point, I'm very curious what it's going to be.
Of course, you could earn credits, and yes, of course, you could always stop someone from having a good time. But what is the real meaning? With the wipe coming to 3.17.5 as previously discussed, what is the meaning to even playing? What is the point? You're there to have fun, right? Like most games. I get it, totally. And if you enjoy playing Star Citizen still, on the day-to-day, I salute you, citizen, I really do. Because sometimes, For me, that simply isn't enough anymore. Not in any game, actually. I rarely play single-player games because, to me, there's no real
Why did he use this clip? He
for
flew
me.
so bad.
I will emphasize that because, of course,
He
some
flew like
single-player
me.
games are great. But I like games that give me a sense, a reason to play them.
Same.
Call of Duty, you go online, you play to beat people. You play to be better than someone else. It's the same for Tarkov. You play to shoot and loot, and you don't do that without making someone else the loser. In Star Citizen, if I go around and shoot you, what am I taking from you? The kit that you're wearing? Okay, don't wear anything then. What do I do? Well, I don't do anything. I can't loot a naked corpse for nothing and sell it to nobody. 318 changes that. Salvage changes that. And if you
No, it doesn't.
didn't like mining, or even if you did, salvage is the future for Star Citizen 318 and the near to short distance of the patches to come. It means there'll probably be a lot more pirates.
I mean, if I kill you, I get your kit, so just don't wear a kit. People don't just... There's so much, like, off here. Everybody still wears a kit. Why? It is less than one mission to kit yourself up easily, and the missions are simple. Bounty mission, cargo, bunker, whatever. Also, all you got to do is go down to a bunker, kill some NPCs, and you have gear, right? Like, there's no progression system. There's no, like, you can't go to Tarkov and compare it at all, because the difference is Tarkov has tiers of armor, all these things, right? Like better, I don't know what they're called, like the vests where you put all your ammo and stuff and grenades in. Like, yeah, I just, that's the part. I agree with him, like when he says that this is what I need from games, but where I disagree is I don't have, I don't feel that I'm going to get that sense of feeling in 3.18. What is good about 3.18 now is that when you kill somebody, they don't disappear, right? So you are able to loot their kit when they die, but the thing is what is on their body typically is not good. Like, what do you get when you watch a Tarkov YouTube video, Tarkov stream, is they kill a guy and they go, whoa, this guy is so sweaty. Look at all the gear on him. Look at all the stuff on him, right? And then they're going through and they're deciding what to take and what not to take. There's none of that in SC. Almost none. And that's the part where Star Citizen 318 is still the alpha that we all know Star Citizen to be, and somebody eventually has to turn items into valuable, useful things. Basically, the fake armor system that we have now with the ships, that's the armor system we've had the entire time with our FPS armor. And I imagine that is a just temporary solution now as well. In the future, that could be something different. When they do decide to do that, when they do prioritize that, then kit, then gear will matter. But not now.
And it also means there'll be a lot more player interaction. Tarkov is so unique because I know, and everyone else does, when you join a server, you and many others have joined at the same time, and you all have the same things to risk. Everything you have on you.
Yeah, but the things that are on you are valuable. In Star Citizen, you just go back to the shop and buy it again.
That's one dead. Don't make it two. Oh, bugger. In Star Citizen, with persistent streaming, if you start storing things in your ships like you're supposed to, you will be risking everything every single time you go out and fly. You'll make decisions going forward that might change whether or not you take that route through Magda and Hurston, or whether or not you go all the way around to some other destination. I think it's a...
All the gear he just showed in that clip is subscriber purchased gear.
Really, really important feature that every game, especially a big multiplayer RPG, sim, shooter, space, fighter, should have. A meaning, a purpose to living, and a purpose, most importantly, to dying. If I find you in Star Citizen, I have a choice now as a player. I can choose to just interact with you, leave you be, maybe ask you how you are. I have an option also to take you for what you're worth. Maybe you're not carrying anything. Doesn't matter. You've got a ship now, and that ship can be torn apart and sold for scraps. And that's all it really needs to be. That's all it needs to be right now, because in the future, more can come from it.
Yes.
If you have cargo on your ship as well.
The thing is this is what I think 318 is a patch that opens up the future for what he's kind of saying is already here. I think 318 is really exciting for those reasons, but I don't think 318 will bring the reason for me to just like play Star Citizen like crazy.
Well, when you get destroyed, you don't just explode anymore. No, there's a chance that your ship becomes a husk, a shell of its former self, something that I and my maybe greedy friends can dabble into and discover some delightful delicacies that you've left behind. Maybe you've decided to leave an arsenal of Animus missile launchers or railguns. That would be my preference. Or
I
maybe
still haven't
you've decided
found any railguns.
to booby trap it. Maybe you were expecting a pirate onboarding and maybe you came armed. Got out of your pilot seat, hid in your MSR hidden tunnelways, and decided to wait for the right time to ambush those pesky vultures. I'm not saying I'm going to go out of my way to hunt people down.
I love that he's saying how good Star Citizen is going to be, but that he's also still leaving in a lot of the bugs.
I'm saying that if I do, it's for good cause.
It sets the right expectations.
Because I just want something to do. And because Star Citizen lacks that right now in the current patch, I haven't been playing it. But we all know I love Star Citizen. This entire channel was built around Star Citizen, and this fundamental change to 318 and the introduction to salvage, as well as persistence, gives me that reason to play. It means that I'm able to log on every day and decide that I actually want to stay. Even if I die, if I get taken out, that's someone else's meaning. I've given them purpose. By providing a shell, a husk, a ship for them to salvage, I provide gameplay. Maybe they stay there. Maybe I go back to the place.
That's true. So that I think that's sort of the point he's trying to make, and he wanted to lengthen the video a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, but that is 100% true. Like when your ship is gone, or it was soft death, or it was whatever, there is the option for that player to now do a little bit more. So it is adding gameplay. You could, make fun of the word gameplay and whatever in Star Citizen, but it is adding a layer to the interactions between players. 100%. The persistence fact makes a layer that should have already been there in 315 with the ability to loot players actually work. And now it's a matter of making, personally, what I want to see is what they did with the FPS weapons, because but the problem is with that, there are many, basically, because the armor is the way that it is, and there's no really good armor. There's no tier 6 helmets, or there's no armor that just makes you pretty bullet spongy like you would see in a Tarkov, and there's no ammo that penetrates that armor. What you get is every single FPS weapon is essentially the same, because it's only a few milliseconds or less than a second more shooting with each weapon that you have, right? So whether you're using a C-54 or an FS9 or an F-55, the usefulness or the value of that weapon is essentially the same, even though they've pulled those weapons out of the stores and you have to get lucky to find them. The armor sort of has to start doing the same thing to make those weapons more valuable. The armor has to kind of protect you against those things. They have to add ammo types, right? So for me, once I start seeing ammo types getting added to the game, I think that's when these layers of purpose really start coming into the game. So that's just how I look at it. But I definitely agree with what Stewey's saying. Is there's more to it, but for me personally, I just look at the game and go, wow, look at the armor they have. It has the exact same characteristics as mine. It just looks different, or it's a different color. Is that enough to create purpose? For me, it's not. For Stewie, it may be.
Where I died, and I find them salvaging.
I'll pause again. Basically, you have to pretend. And it's okay to pretend. But if you want to role play out there as a, do a 0 to hero account, things like that, I have some plans for one that I want to do to make the game more interesting for myself. That's fine, but you have to pretend. And in Tarkov, you're not pretending. It is the game that is the driving force behind you. It's all the game mechanics. It's not the game mechanics that you make up in your head.
My ship. Maybe me and a bunch of augmates decided to fight back. And then a whole war starts, a whole resource war around the huge ships that we're bringing to these battles. It escalates and it escalates, and eventually you basically have Xenothreat, but developed and created by the player community on that server.
That's not possible in 318.
To think that we could have that possibility just on the doorstep.
On the doorstep.
318's release. And that will only get better as 3.19 and 4.0 comes to fruition.
I don't see
I hope you guys can see the image I'm portraying to you, and I hope that you are as enthusiastic for it as I am.
I'm not. It just comes down to money has no value. The item, there's so many problems with just the base layer of Star Citizen that are being completely ignored here. Star Citizen is not a video game yet. It has so much potential, and this patch is one of the leading driving forces for that potential. I can get behind that idea. I cannot get behind 318 becoming a video game.
Yes, Tarkov will always offer different things to Star Citizen, and Star Citizen will definitely offer a lot of different things compared to Tarkov. And you should be playing more than one game at a time. I'm going to be enjoying my time waiting for the patches to come out, playing different games, playing games I haven't touched for a while. Right now,
let's talk about the story. You can buy armor and guns for real money.
Battlefield 2042, if anyone remembers that game got released. Maybe there's a game up there that you enjoy. Let me know in the comments down below what you're playing while you're not playing Star Citizen. And if you are still trooping along in the verse, I want to hear about that as well, because, like I said, Citizen, I salute you. This video is just a real down-to-earth chit-chat between me and you, explaining one of the greatest reasons I am excited for 318. And if you share that enthusiasm, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well. I'll try and get more videos out as soon as possible, when perhaps the servers become more stable. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more, well, check out maybe the journey to 4.0. Check out some other highlight reels, or check out some other bespoke content here on the channel. I've got a great series called Should You Buy, and frankly, it's gone over 2 of the most versatile ships so far. If you have any questions or want to let me know anything, there's a Discord in the link of this video as well, and you can always leave a comment that I can read. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
This is kind of cool. He is collecting things in his ship, and he's again, I think what he's doing is he's creating his own purpose with 318 mechanics, and that's fine. The issue that I take is that the game isn't doing them for you, and that's what I love about Tarkov. It's the perfect example of all the potential that Star Citizen could have. Star Citizen doesn't have to go the insanely, I think, hardcore route that Tarkov is. I'm not saying Star Citizen has to become Tarkov. What I'm saying is that Tarkov's a really good example of creating purpose in a video game, right? It's a really good example of a lot of the things, the items and the armor and the driving force behind player versus player interaction is gear. And I think Tarkov does gear better than anybody. right? With their trader systems and reputation and just guns and ammo and all those things. They're really good about that. Star Citizen isn't trying to do that yet. That's the thing that I think people forget, is that is in no way, nowhere, anywhere on Star Citizen's priority list. The only one is ammo types. And I think after ammo types, then you have to start looking at armor. After armor, then it's the floodgates should open in terms of the kind of design of all the little items and attachments and all that stuff from there, right? And then you can start looking at recoil and kick and all these things. But until then, doesn't mean anything. But thank you, Stewie. I love Stewie. You guys are kind of giving him a hard time in the comments, but I think he's he's excited about the potential of the game and his ability to make the game fun for himself. And I think that's the part that's maybe missed in there, is you guys here live are giving him a hard time, but Stewie's the man. He's a good guy. He's been on the Answer the Call podcast, actually. We were talking about Star Marine. He's really good at that. And yeah, I thought this was a good video. For me, it highlights what is missing from Star Citizen, not what's there in 318, you know?